Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hello, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, I'm going to be doing a dream symbolized random hypnosis session, taking some symbols from dreams rather than a destination, but still having those emotions, still having those nouns, and still having the hypnotic language card that is going to be the components, the ingredients of the hypnosis session, just to see where the hypnosis session takes itself in many ways. I have no idea. I'm kind of curious as to weirdly experience it, because while I'm doing it, I'm also experiencing it. I have no preconceived ideas about what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it. So it really is almost allowing my unconscious mind to do the hypnosis session for me. So I'm always quite entertained based on my own hypnosis sessions and seeing what comes up. So I'm going to share my screen for those watching on YouTube. And the three dream symbols, very appropriate for me actually. Bold, for those of you that have only heard the podcast, not seen me on YouTube, I have absolutely no hair on my head. So if you see bold in a dream, it says your life is about to turn a corner. I don't really give any credence to these meanings, but we are going to use the symbol of bold in this hypnosis session. We also have the symbol of moving water. Now, I think a lot of people have an idea of what still water versus moving water means. In reality, still water tends to be more stagnant. It tends to create a different form of life. Moving water tends to be cleaner and fresher. So we're going to use that symbol. And we're also going to use the symbol of a sibling or a half sibling. So that might be, let's say a stepchild, for example, or a stepbrother, stepsister. So we're going to use these three symbols. So bald, and that's bald, not bold, as in courageous, but bald as in no hair, moving water, and a half sibling. The two random emotions, I love this word, bewilderment, one of my favorite words, bewilderment and torment. So bewilderment, quite often a variation of the word confused or confusion. Torment is to inflict harm, really. It could be inner torment. It could be tormenting someone else. So it's normally incurring or inflicting some kind of pain or undesirable state on someone else. And we are also going to do, let's see here, the random words, three random nouns. We have blue, crime, and omission. So blue, typically, most people would associate either with the color, but it can be a form, another variation, an adjective, if you like, to represent depression, if someone's feeling blue. Crime normally represents some kind of rule being broken from a legal form, but you could say it also represents a crime against yourself if you are out of integrity, you break your own values. And omission really means to leave something out. So we're going to take these nouns, we're going to take these dream symbols and those two emotions, and we're going to create a hypnosis session out of those. The one final ingredient that we're going to add is the Mike Mandel language pattern card. So I'm just going to randomly cut the deck, and this is the King of Spades, and it is cause and effect. So I'm going to read out the description literally on the card. This cool pattern links things that aren't really linked at all to create the effect you want. The interesting thing is the connection doesn't have to make sense, but it still works. Here's the example. As you sit there, you can sink deeper into trance, and with each breath you take, you can find even more comfortable levels of trance. So it's saying as you do one thing, it then links to something else, cause and effect. One of the most insightful principles I got from a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini is the word because, and it follows a similar kind of pattern of cause and effect. When people use the word because in a sentence, they tend to be more compliant, and it doesn't also have to make sense. Even if you start a sentence with the word because, people tend to assume that the cause and effect relationship is valid and therefore tend to be more compliant. So we're going to use this principle of cause and effect in the word because in this hypnosis session. I've got my sand timer here, 15-minute sand timer. So we're going to do this built around this. If you are interested, by the way, in these Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy hypnotic language cards, go to mikemandelhypnosis.com. And you should be able to register them. I think sometimes you have to pay for postage or something like that, but there's some amazing content, lots of free content on that site as well. And very useful to check out. And they've got a great podcast called Brain Software as well. So please do check out them. I find it helps me become a better hypnotherapist listening to their content. So definitely check that out. But for now, listening to this content, if you want to experience it as a hypnosis session, then find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, notice that you start to feel deeper and deeper relaxed, and that as you breathe out, more and more tension, stress, and anxiety is leaving your body. That's right, deeper and deeper. Now, I don't know if you're sitting or lying or standing, but as you listen to my voice, you can increase your attention, your awareness on my words. And as you listen to my words, you can notice that you go deeper and deeper into a trance-like state where internal representations become more vivid, enabling you to make significant changes in your life. Continue to breathe in and breathe out, and if it's safe to do so, allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, you can find even deeper levels of relaxation. That's right. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine that you are beside a stream. You can see that water, the ripples on the surface, the currents, the interesting patterns when water meets an obstacle like a rock or a log. Get a sense that the flowing water represents at some level the thoughts that flow through your mind. Perhaps near the corners or the edges you can see fast currents that represent those thoughts that kind of come and then they go. And perhaps in the middle of that stream, perhaps it even looks calm on the surface and you can't even tell that the water is moving until there's something floating in it, perhaps a stick or a leaf. Outside of that, it seems very still, even though the movement is taking place below the surface. And think of your own thoughts. Your own thoughts sometimes are fleeting thoughts. An idea pops into your head and then leaves immediately. And yet there are other thoughts that you revisit on a regular basis. And somewhere near that stream, I want you to imagine seeing a bald man. Maybe he's middle-aged, maybe old. And perhaps he sat by the stream. And I want you to get a sense that he is at peace. He's also looking into the water. He's breathing in and breathing out. And as you notice his peace of mind and his relaxation, that seems to spread into you as you feel yourself going deeper and deeper, relaxed. As your physical body relaxes, your mind becomes more alert. And I want you to notice somewhere in this stream, perhaps around some kind of rock, you see almost a whirlpool, where the water, perhaps immediately after the rock, seems to spin in a circle. Now, I don't know if this spinning water in your mind will represent confusion, perhaps, or perhaps what can happen in a human mind is what's known as a loop. A loop is when a thought isn't quite complete. There's insufficient information in that thought, which then requires a second thought to come off the original thought. And sometimes an emotion is attached to that thought, which then comes back all the way around to create a new thought. All of us have these loops in our lives. Sometimes these loops are very powerful in a useful way, but sometimes they're not. I want you to imagine two different loops that are possible. The first is a loop of positive motivation. A thought might be based on a belief that you can learn anything that you set your mind to. And based on that belief, a thought pops into your head of a goal that you'd like to achieve. And another thought perhaps suggests that you don't know how to do this particular thing that you want to do. But then the belief kicks in saying, I can learn to do anything I set my mind to. And that increases the motivation to learn whatever is necessary to then pursue that goal. And when that goal is achieved, another thought pops into your head. What if I'd like to do this? And that loop that goes round and round will mean that throughout a lifetime, you get to learn many things and achieve many things, and get a sense of pride and accomplishment from achieving those things. But imagine almost a half sibling to that same loop. Perhaps the belief is, I'm not good enough. And then the idea pops into your head, maybe I could try that. And the thought kicks in, yeah, but you don't know how to do that. And then you agree with that thought and say, yeah, it's true, I don't know how to do that, and I'm not very good at learning. So then you don't attempt it. And then, perhaps out of boredom or monotony, there's something else that you like the idea of, and it loops all the way back round until you say, but I'm no good at that. Two similar loops, almost like siblings within a family, similar but not the same. One loop will encourage a lifetime of learning and achievement and accomplishment, and another loop creating a lifetime of frustration, excuses, and hesitation. And I wonder, if we can create just enough bewilderment, just enough confusion to entertain the idea of reversing that loop. As you look there at that whirlpool behind that rock in that stream, what would happen if you reverse the whirlpool so it goes in exactly the opposite direction? I want you to entertain the idea that somewhere in your life is a loop working against you rather than for you. You may consciously know what that is, or you may not. It doesn't matter. But as you entertain the idea that you have loops that are working against you, just decide that that whirlpool in that stream represents the loop working against you, and then choose to have it go in the opposite direction. If the whirlpool is clockwise, make it anti-clockwise. If it's anti-clockwise, make it clockwise. Reverse the direction of that loop. And in doing so, allow the confusion, the bewilderment, to entertain an idea. What if the loop was in reverse? As you look at the blueness of that water, I want you to imagine that it would be a crime to live your life with loops that shut down possibilities, with loops that shut down beliefs and resourceful states. Some people describe themselves as feeling a bit blue, a term designed to echo the sentiment of depression or hopelessness. And sometimes the feeling is linked to a belief. Nothing ever works out, so why even try? And in doing so, shuts down the very resources that mean that it's possible to try something new. What if depression was simply being trapped in a maze that you didn't know the way out of? Simply because you could only see the maze from inside the maze. What if you could zoom out, like one of those flying drone cameras, and see the maze from above? Perhaps there is a way out of the blueness into somewhere else. And perhaps the crime is to relive patterns of thoughts and behaviors that keep us trapped in the maze. What if? What if, as you consider the possibility of these loops and mazes, that you accept that all it would require is one new bit of information, and that new bit of information could then be a way out of the maze. It could stop that loop, and when it stopped once, it can never come back. Imagine a leaf getting caught in that whirlpool behind the rock. Just one tiny gust of wind could be enough to get the leaf out of that whirlpool, and then it never goes back. What if that one new bit of information, something like an emission, that if we found it and added it, then suddenly these loops aren't permanent traps, but simply delays to enable you to build up momentum, to enable you that when you go back on your way down the stream, you can take that experience, having solved that problem, and apply it to future situations and loops that you don't even know you may encounter. I want you to get a sense that if life is a stream, and that you have the ability to turn these unhelpful loops into positive loops, that you can break free from the barriers of your own life? What if the biggest crime is to be living at a level less than you're capable of? What if the biggest crime was to accept these false beliefs of limitations to be true? What if we replaced those beliefs of limitations with alternative beliefs of possibility? What if the crime is acting below levels of your own standards? If we raise those standards and you agreed to meet those standards, isn't it the case that your life would take on a whole different trajectory? That the stream might end up in an entirely different river or ocean. Maybe all the water is blue, but would you want your stream to take you away to those crystal clear blue waters? The dark, murky blues. Your life could be many different destinations. You are unlocking all of the resources necessary to take you to the destination that you want to. And before you leave this stream, I want you to approach the bold man by the stream, as you realize that this bold man has a gift for you, a resource, something that up to now has been missing from your life. It's been an omission. Whatever is lacking, he then has that resource. If you're lacking self-belief, he has that belief. If you're lacking creativity, he has that creativity. I want you to imagine he is about to give you a shiny ball. Maybe this is a metallic ball, maybe shiny from light. But just know that he is going to give you something, and it represents whatever is missing in your life. Whatever you need most, he has. It's a resource, it's a belief, it's an idea, a strategy. And whatever you need, he's giving it to you. And I want you to hold on to it. Place it to your chest and imagine that that missing resource, that omission, is now within you. Where there was a gap, there is no longer a gap. Consider this the missing piece of the puzzle, that even if you were trapped in loops or lost in a maze, this is now the one additional bit of information or belief or resource or strategy needed. It's the difference that makes the difference. And in doing so, you can escape these whirlpools and mazes and continue down the stream towards the very destination that you want most. And then you realize, as you say goodbye to that bold man by the stream, that because he's given you this resource, everything will be better in the future. You are on a different trajectory now. And because you're aware of these loops and mazes, they don't have the same impact they used to. Because now you're able to see these things from a different perspective, giving you the ability to break these patterns that have been holding you back. As you move away from the stream, find yourself back in your body right now, firmly in the present. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle those fingers, wiggle those toes. Get a sense that you're in your own physical body right now. And as you listen to my voice, allow all what's been said to take root in your unconscious mind to enable you that as I count from 1 to 10, you will awaken, activating whatever was missing, whatever was the omission in your life is now filled, and therefore what was impossible before is now possible for you. starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.
Okay, thanks for listening to that hypnosis session. Just a bit of reflections on that from my perspective. I found that slightly more challenging than normal because a lot of the emotions were kind of more on the intangible. I don't think bewilderment is a particularly useful resource. I don't think, perhaps the one about, the siblings and torment and those kind of things are particularly useful. I did think that omission was a really useful element, and that a crime being a violation of your own standards was useful. So there was elements there which I tried to kind of fuse into the hypnosis session. Hopefully you found that useful at some level. If you did get any interesting insights from that hypnosis session, please put them in the comments. I'd love to see them. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the show, because it basically hijacks the algorithm of YouTube to enable more potential people to see the show, which would be really appreciated. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.